Hey, I'm Keith. I just wanted to do a quick video of my 2023 lawn care setup. This is my work truck. It's a 2017 Dodge Ram, and it has the 6.4 gas engine. No more diesels for me. You diesel guys, you can't come out with a diesel. I don't care how many miles you drive it. You can't come out, put a pen to the paper anyway. Enough on that. That's a little pet peeve of mine now. It's a dually. A dually always tows better than a single rear wheel truck. No swaying going down the road, even with camper or whatever. I just always like to tow with a dually. This also has a dump bed insert, which works great for whatever, mulch, brush. Probably wouldn't recommend it for heavy gravel usage or anything like that, but mulch, topsoil, brush is what I mainly use it for. Okay, we'll work on back toward the trailer. This is a 2023 7x16. It's a titanium is the brand of it, a relatively new brand, but I've done a lot of research and kind of just like the way this one was, and I could customize it the way I wanted. A lot of the trailer manufacturers, they just won't do any customization right now since COVID. They don't want to slow the assembly line down or whatever. But anyway, so far I really like it. Got a high-tech little box here on the front. Just took a couple of crates and placed for cones and wheel chock and my block to put under the jack. It's just a way to use a little space right there. And we'll walk on around this way. I painted the ramp with the deck over paint. It's a real rough textured paint. You can get it at Home Depot, maybe Lowe's, but it's made for kind of refurbishing an older deck that may have, some rough spots in it or splinters or whatever. But it's really coated and it's really thick, and it's got a texture to it, so the mowers won't slip coming up and down, even on a frosty morning, or and if it starts raining or whatever. I have seen guys with enclosed trailers that they have to spin to get up or down there, because of when the ramp gets wet. And come on around this side. And this is the main reason that I went with this titanium brand trailer. This is a 5-foot door. Both doors swing open like barn doors, and I can put a pallet of fertilizer or grass seed or whatever in the trailer without having to touch it. I've been doing this 32 years, so I'm trying to work smarter instead of harder, and after 3 back surgeries, I'm just figuring, let's not handle materials any more than we have to. So I think that's going to work out great. And then once you get it inside, it's in the dry, for however many days it takes you to spread whatever material you're spreading at the time. Okay, let's look inside. Now, as you can see, I primarily use Walker mowers. I do have a big 60-inch Cub Cadet that I use for big wide open areas, and it does a great job for what it is, but most of my lawns are highly manicured lawns, small with a lot of beds, so they're a big mower like that. I only use the Cub Cadet 1 day a week. But anyway, this is a B27i. It has a 52-inch mulching deck. It works great. I've got a 48-inch mulching deck also, but defying logic, the 52-inch does better than the 48-inch. Doesn't make sense to me, but it just disperses the clippings better. So that's my primary mower now. I'm not bagging near as much grass as I used to. In the back, I've got a T28 GHS model. It's 2009. It was one of the anniversary editions. It's got the extra chrome and stuff on it. Just a little extra, but it does a great job when I have to bag. But like I say, I'm not bagging near as much grass as I used to. So now I'm going to move the mowers out of the way so we can see the trailer better. But one other thing, I always back my mowers in the trailer. Whether I'm using the enclosed trailer or I've got an open trailer, I always back them in and pull them out. And here's why. To move that mower, all I've got to do is come right here and sit on it. I'm ready to go. If you pull the mower in, you've got to walk all the way around the mower and then sit on it here. It just makes more sense to me to back them in and pull them off. You got to back them one way or the other, so why not back them in? I looked at a lot of YouTube videos before I set this trailer up, and 90% of videos I've seen, people pull the mowers in. It just doesn't make sense to me. I try to be as efficient as I can, and like I say, if you pull it in, then you've got to walk up and further in the trailer. You've got to dodge whatever your blowers or trimmers or whatever is hanging on the sides. So it just makes more sense to me to back them in and then pull them off. So I'm going to move them out of the way now, and then we'll look closer inside the trailer. And this is part of my security team. He's our security system here at the house. Yeah. Okay, now that we're inside, I decided to put the blowers on the very back of the trailer. Again, trying to be the most efficient. I've seen a lot of videos that guys had a spare tire right here. That makes no sense to me. Hopefully you will never use a spare tire. But if you do, hopefully it's just once in a blue moon. So it doesn't make sense to me to put something like a spare tire that you hardly ever use, if ever, on the back of the trailer. Things like that should go in the front of the trailer, so you're not having to walk as far. I've seen a lot of guys with videos, their blowers was further in the trailer. Some of them even up on the front wall. I use a blower more than any other tool. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. If I'm mowing, if I'm fertilizing, if I'm doing a landscape job, if I'm spreading pine needles, I use a blower every single day. So, it's on the back of the trailer. This is a Echo PB 9010. Great blower, extremely powerful. I've got a PB 8010 also, and I can't tell a lot of difference as far as the power. The 9010 is supposed to be a little stronger, but if it is, it's very little. There's not an obvious difference in the power. This is an older Echo PB 755T, not near as powerful as the new one, but I've had that blower probably 15 years, and it starts on the second pull every single time. It's kind of bulletproof. Okay, here's my mixed gas can. I didn't buy one of the pre-made gas can holders. I mean, they're just too expensive for what they are. You know, it doesn't make sense for me to pay that much for something just to hold a gas can. This is just an old metal milk crate that I had, and I've got it bolted to the wall, and it's pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. Keep my extra mix in the back right there. So it's right there handy whenever I need to make mixed gas. On the bottom, you got two 5-gallon cans for regular gas, another can for mixed gas, and I just made a little box there to keep them from sliding around in the trailer when you're driving down the road. Okay, this is my trimmer rack. This is an Equipment Defender rack, and you're probably noticing right offhand that I've got them hung vertically instead of horizontally. Well, I used to have a box truck, box van, whichever you want to call it, and I had all of my stick equipment hung vertically like this, just on these little racks that I got from Home Depot, and I welded a chain on them with a padlock, just to make it a little harder for somebody to steal, you know. I mean, if somebody wants something bad enough, they can get it. But anyway, I had everything vertically in that van, and it worked out great. Well, I had a smaller enclosed trailer last year, a 6x12, and it was just a little cramped, so I decided to go with a bigger trailer. But I also decided that I would hang this thing to where the trimmers are vertical, because it takes up so much less wall space. If you hang them horizontally, it takes up about 6 foot of wall space. And this way, it only takes up about 3. So double the wall space to hang them horizontally. And I wanted, when I decided how to lay this out, I wanted everything on this side that sticks out very far from the trailer. I know a lot of videos, you see guys that got blowers on one side right here, and the weed eaters, hedge trimmers on sticks on this side. And for me, for a 7-foot wide trailer, that just makes it a little too congested. If it's an 8.5-foot trailer, 8.5-foot wide trailer, that's probably fine. But for a 7 or especially a 6-foot trailer, it's just too cramped for me. So I wanted everything that sticks out very far on the same side of the trailer. Okay, you still work it the same way. It still holds them in there just as good. It's still just as theft deterrent as if they're hanging horizontally. They're just hanging vertically. I mean, they're in there. They're not going to jump out. They're not going to go anywhere. You still use the same little blocks that hold them in there on the top and the bottom. So unless something drastically changes my mind, I think that's the better way to go, especially for a 7-foot wide trailer, unless you get a longer trailer so you got more wall space. I use mainly Red Max weed eaters. I used to use pretty much all steel equipment, but over the years, especially when they changed to that 4-mix, I just had a lot of troubles of it running and hard to start, and just didn't seem to have as much power as a true 2-cycle engine. So I switched to Red Max, and I've been very happy with Red Max. They start easy, just don't have many troubles with them. They're just good trimmers. I do have an older steel right here. This is the HL75, and right now I've got a hedge trimmer head on it. This one is probably 25 years old, and when I first got it, it had the fixed hedge trimmer head on it that you couldn't adjust the angle on. Well, after they come out with the new one that you could adjust on, I bought one of them and like it much better. But this one is also very versatile for me. Like I say, right now I've got the hedge trimmer head on it, but in this crate up here, I also have another weed eater head for it. I have an edger attachment for it. I've got the chainsaw attachment for it. So it gives me a lot of versatility. And I also have, it's called a scythe, but it's basically just a shorter hedge trimmer. And that works really good if you're having to cut down a bunch of like briars or something that has thorns on it. Or you can use it for heavy grass too. And you don't get as much resistance as you would with this, because the scythe is, like I say, it's about half the length of it. And it's lighter too. Okay, here is my Red Max It's a mid-size hedge trimmer. As you can see, it's not as tall as the full-size shaft. And if I only had one hedge trimmer, that would be it. It's just, most applications, it works great. If you need longer length, I do have this. I've got a steel pole saw. You know, it telescopes out like, I don't know, 12, 14 foot, something like that. But it's just so heavy. I try not to use it any more than I have to. But for that, I do have the chainsaw head, and I can put the hedge trimmer head on it if I'm pruning. This, I bought last year. It's just a little Ryobi cheap rechargeable. I think it's like 150 bucks. And it comes with 2 batteries. Got the spare battery up here. And at the time I was having a lot of trouble with my shoulder and elbow. Like I say, I'm not as young as most guys in the lawn care industry. So I found this thing, and it weighs about half as much as a gas-powered handheld hedge trimmer. And it does a great job. And the battery lasts for probably 2 hours of straight trimming before the battery goes down. And then I got another one. So that's 4 hours worth of trimming. That's all the trimming I want to do in a day. So if it takes longer than that, I'm not too worried about it. So, and this little fin on the top of it, I love that. When you're pruning, you just kind of rake the clippings off of the top of the shrub as you're pruning, and it makes cleanup a lot faster and easier. I'm not sure why Stihl and Red Max and Echo hasn't come up with something like that to put on their trimmers. It's not rocket science, but it sure does help. And maybe they'll catch on, I don't know. Okay, here, this is my sprayer rack. This is just a Stihl adjustable shelf rack that I got at Home Depot. It's pretty heavy made. I think each shelf can hold 300 pounds. So it's pretty heavy duty, and I've got it screwed to the wall, and it's not going anywhere. I shake the whole trailer. Up in the second box here, I've also got a grease gun that I always carry with me. Normally I do my maintenance and stuff in the garage, but every once in a while you might be out and might need a little extra grease. So I got a grease gun in there. Got it in that crate. You know how a grease gun will kind of leak, especially when it gets hot. So I got it in there just so it doesn't make a mess everywhere. On this shelf here, I will have my backpack sprayers. And I put it at this height so I can just back up right here and take the sprayer off. Or when I'm starting to spray, just come right here and put the sprayer on without having to lift it up off the ground. Again, just trying to work smarter and not harder. I usually have 2 backpack sprayers, one for Roundup, non-selective herbicide, and one for selective herbicide, whether that be Trimec or Cool Power or Q4 Plus or whatever it is I happen to be spraying at the time. On this shelf will be my chemicals. Also, we'll have my gloves here. I always wear gloves. In the summertime, when I'm wearing shorts, this is just a pair of Gore-Tex pants that slip on and off real easy. If I'm wearing shorts, I always wear them over top when I'm spraying. Just try not to get any spray, you know, from a fine mist or anything on your bare legs. I see a lot of guys spraying and they don't wear gloves, they don't wear a mask, they don't wear any PPE at all. And the chemicals, you know, I think they're too dangerous to flirt with, you know, so I just try to be as safe as I can around the chemicals. On the bottom shelf, I've got 2 of these blue cans for water, so that if I'm spraying and need to make another tank full of spray, I've got water there with me to make more spray with. In the front corner up here, I've got my rakes, got the little narrow shrub rake, and then I've got a couple of leaf rakes, pitchfork, my scoop shovel on the back there. I got a couple shelves here. In this crate, I've got the tie down ratchet straps, Got a tow strap. If a mower ever gets stuck in the mud, I can pull it out with the other mower. Got a tarp. The second shelf, I got some emergency stuff here. Got fire extinguisher. Got the safety triangles. If you have a breakdown on the side of the road, you're supposed to put these out on the road to warn other motorists. In here, I've just got gear oil and motor oil, just a little bit of this, that, and the other in these crates. I always carry some trash bags with me, and this is a much larger bag. It's made for the walker, that when you get full, you can cap that over the back of the bagger and dump the debris in there. I don't have to use those too much. Most of my accounts now, I have a place on site to dump, so I'm not having to dispose of near as much debris as I used to have. Grass clippings and leaves in my area is getting harder and harder to dispose of. On the bottom here, you'll see my big toolbox, and don't have too many tools in it, but mainly parts I've got in here. Always want to carry some spare parts with you. You know, things like the spark plug and the safety switches for a walker. We all know how those will go out. Just seems like at the worst possible time. Got some of the shear bolts for the walker. You know, you'll break one of them every now and then, and you know, it's a shame to let a 50-cent part make you stop what you're doing and come back home or to your office or storage facility just to get a part. So I try to carry kind of the basic parts with me that I might need. Got belts for each of my machines, for every belt that they have on them. You just never know. Got pulleys, just pretty much anything that normally goes out on a walker. I've usually got it with me. And this toolbox works great for just keeping everything organized, keeping everything together here in the front. Okay, this is a trash can used for picking up trash. Also use it when I'm pruning. If you have a square trash can or a rectangle trash can, when you're pruning, you can lay it down and rake the clippings right in the trash can. See, a lot of guys use those round trash cans, and you can't do that with a round trash can. It just makes more sense to me. Again, trying to be efficient. I also have a Lesco walk behind spreader. When I'm spreading fertilizer, lime, grass seed, whatever, it'll hang on those same hooks there. I just interchange it with this trash can. Here you see my spare tire. Again, notice that's in the front corner of the trailer. The hardest to get to, because you hope you never use that. Got a little 5-gallon bucket just for picking up small trash or whatever. Got a broom and a little dustpan here. But sometimes I use that for pruning, especially if I'm in a confined area that's too big to use that. I'll rake the clippings right in there and then dump that in the trash can. And this is a view of the inside of that 5-foot door. I think that's going to really work out good for me. Now, everything on this side of the trailer, as you notice, it doesn't stick out very far from the wall. And again, that was intentional, to have one side of the trailer that doesn't stick out as far. I got spare blades up here, pruning lopper, pruning saw. Got my long reach pruners here. Got a telescoping pole pruner there. I don't usually carry my steel pole pruner. It's just so big and heavy and awkward. I don't usually carry that unless I know I'm specifically going to need it that day. I got some spray cans and stuff up here, lubricants, and of course bee spray. We all need that. Here I've got safety equipment, glasses and gloves and sunscreen, first aid kit. hopefully pretty much you need anything you need. Got a little rack that holds paper towels. Try to keep that stuff close to the back of the trailer. And I got another fire extinguisher here, one on each end of the trailer. Hopefully that never comes into play, but it could. So I guess that wraps up this video. This is my first video ever, and really the reason I decided to do it is like I say, I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, and some videos was good and some videos honestly wasn't so good. But you know, in a lot of those videos they would say the ultimate trailer setup or the epic trailer setup or something like that. And this one might not be either one of those, but it's just simple and trying to make it, like I say, efficient. And I'm a one-man band, a solo operator, and for what I do, I think this setup is going to work well for me in 2023. So thanks for watching, and might be doing more videos. We'll see. Have a good one.